Today is Friday, November 17th, and I'm just wondering if the Carolina Panthers made a big mistake with the number one pick in last year's NFL draft.
And now, a word from our title sponsor.
Are all financial advisors fiduciaries? Fewer than you think. Not knowing could reduce your lifestyle. Hi, I'm Mitch Kramer, founder and CEO of Fluent Financial. A fiduciary is a regulatory term to reduce conflicts of interest in wealth management. A fiduciary always works in your best interest. A non-fiduciary advisor might put their compensation or company ahead of yours. At Fluent Financial, we are certified financial planners acting as fiduciary advisors. To learn more, go to fluentfinancial.com or Fluent Financial's YouTube channel.
8 years ago, 2015, the Carolina Panthers were in the Super Bowl. It's been a while since the Cowboys have been able to say that. But in the intervening years, the results have not been kind to Carolina. They won more than 7 games only once since that Super Bowl appearance, and they're not getting to 7 this year. They are 1-8 as they approach the Cowboy game. This team was, for a long time, coached by Ron Rivera, now the Washington coach. And he is the one who took them to the Super Bowl. But Carolina wanted more, so they fired Ron Rivera, who'd actually done a pretty good job there. And they hired Matt Rule away from Baylor. Well, Matt lasted 3 years. In those 3 years, the Panthers were 17-33. And he's now coaching Nebraska. Enter Frank Reich to take over the club this year. Reich was the head coach of Indianapolis for 4.5 years. The first 4 years, they went a very credible 37-28. But last year, after a 3-5-1 start, owner Jim Irsay fired Frank Reich. Irsay's not got much of a track record himself, by the way. One of Reich's problems, he started a different quarterback every one of his 5 seasons in Indianapolis. And getting to Carolina, he did not want that. So Carolina, which had traded for quarterbacks before, they traded a lot of stuff to the Jets for Sam Darnold. That didn't work out. They traded for Baker Mayfield of Cleveland. That didn't work out. So they pulled a whopper. They had the 9th pick in the first round of the draft last year, and the Bears had the number 1 pick. But Carolina wanted the top pick in the draft, and by heavens, they went and got it. They gave up that first-round pick, number 9. They gave up their second-round pick. They gave up their first-round pick in the coming year. They gave up their second-round pick in 2025, and they gave up a star young receiver in DJ Moore, all to move up to number 1. Now, they took Bryce Young. Before the draft, people liked Bryce Young. They were just a little concerned that he wasn't very big. To take Bryce Young, of course, that means they bypassed C.J. Stroud, who's taking this league by storm. And the Young draft choice has not worked out at this point. And remember, they don't have a first-round pick in the coming draft because that's gone to the Bears. Young doesn't compare with C.J. Stroud, at least right now. The offense under Matt Rule was poor. It averaged over his 3 years 22 points, then 18 points, then 20 points per game. It's dropped to 17 points per game this year. That's number 29 in the league. Last year, they finished a woeful 29th in yards per game. This year, they're down to 30th. So far, Bryce Young has been a pretty big disappointment. His yards per passing attempt is 5.4 yards. That is the worst of any qualifying quarterback in the NFL at this point of the season. What does that mean? That means he throws a lot of dink and dunk passes. To be fair, Carolina is allowing the 6th most quarterback pressures of any team in the league. Their quarterbacks have been sacked 32 times. But it sure doesn't get easier Sunday, because in Dallas, they're facing the team that leads the league in quarterback pressures. They don't balance their offense. They only run for 81 yards a game. They barely throw for 200 yards a game. And Young has 8 touchdown passes, but 7 interceptions and 4 fumbles. And that's led to Carolina having a -4 turnover ratio. Now, they have played a pretty rough schedule. But at this point, Frank Reich, who was the head coach and offensive coordinator to begin the season, after 6 games, he turned that over to Thomas Brown. And now after 3 games, he's taken the offensive coordinator's job back. There is no real suggestion here that Carolina has quit. They seem to play hard. Maybe this is too basic, but Dallas averages 13 points per game more than Carolina, and gives up more than 8 points per game less than Carolina. This is a game where the Dallas offense should pull away from the Panthers, especially if the pressure-happy Dallas defense forces Young into more mistakes. It really doesn't seem very possible that this very limited Panther offense can keep up with the Dallas offense that seems to be in gear now. But then, we thought that earlier this season, when Dallas went to woeful Arizona and lost the game there as a huge road favorite. But the bottom line is, real Super Bowl contenders at this point of the season and on forward do not lose games like this. Now, you listening may not be in charge of purchasing seasonings for your home, but you do know what tastes good, really good. Goodness steak seasoning is great. Use it on, obviously, steak, chicken, veggies, or goodness knows what else. No sugar, no MSG, no gluten, but great flavor. Get Goodness Steak Seasonings by going to bringthetasty.com. That's bringthetasty.com.
Today's episode has been brought to you by Fluent Financial, by Oh Hell Roofing, and by Goodness Steak Seasoning.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Just Wondering. If you enjoyed it, please hit follow. Then each episode every weekday will be delivered straight to you. And if we might ask one more favor, please share it with friends. I'm Norm Hitzges, and every day I'll be just wondering about something.
And I'm Mary Hitzges, and I'm just wondering too.
Just Wondering is a production of DSP Media for FanStream Sports. You can find Norm's show along with other great programming at fanstreamsports.com.